And in the wake of the horrific terror attack in Anantnag, the Home Minister today held a high-level meeting with top security officers. The meeting, in fact, lasted for more than an hour. Here's a list of some of the major takeaways from the meeting. A decision has been now taken to launch a joint operation to search and neutralize the terrorists involved in the attack. A tight vigil is going to be maintained even on vehicles that have not been registered with the Amarnath Shrine Board. Their movement are going to be closely tracked. The CRPF has also been asked to use drone cameras on the Amarnath route and also to use other modes to keep a tight vigil at all of the routes that will be taken by the Amarnath pilgrims. Additionally, the MOS Home Hans Rajahir will also be visiting Srinagar and will be holding a meeting with the Governor and the Chief Minister to take stock of the situation in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Editor India Today, Sudhir Ranjan Sen, joining us for more on this. Sudhir, this terror attack would certainly serve as a reality check on the kind of, preparedness by the security on the ground. The deployment of drone cameras, the, deployment of additional forces. What else can we expect to be decided by the government to ensure that the remaining part of the pilgrimage is safe and incident-free? Okay, and while we speak, we are seeing the visuals there of the bodies of the pilgrims that in fact was airlifted and being brought now to Delhi and to also Gujarat. But right now I'm just awaiting a confirmation of the location. Okay, so I'm being told that right now these are the visuals coming in from Surat. This at a time when the national high-level central team led by the Minister of State for Home, Hans Rajahir, will also be visiting the state to assess the security of the pilgrimage. But a pall of gloom has descended in Gujarat, because most of the pilgrims were from that state. We did get a chance to speak to the relatives of two of the pilgrims who lost their lives when the bus that they were traveling in came under attack by the terrorists, who began to fire upon the bus indiscriminately. Okay, and I was just in fact, just a short while back, before we got these visuals, speaking of the Home Minister Rajnath Singh calling for a high-level meeting. That meeting, in fact, was called to review the situation in Jammu and Kashmir in the wake of the killing of the Amarnath pilgrims last night. But this meeting was especially important because it, lasted for an hour, and some very important decisions has been taken to ensure the safety and security of the remaining pilgrims, because despite the horrific attack, despite the tragic loss of 7 pilgrims, the remaining pilgrims remain determined and undeterred. In fact, they say that a terror attack like this will not shake their belief and their strength, and they continue with the, arduous Amarnath pilgrimage. And therefore, to ensure their security, a decision has been taken to deploy additional troops to launch a joint operation to, in fact, search and neutralize those terrorists who were involved in yesterday's attack. Not just that, a tight vigil will be maintained as well. And while I speak, we have also just got a reaction from the BJP General Secretary and Minister in charge of the affairs of the state of Jammu and Kashmir, Ram Madhav.
Well, the government and the security apparatus is taking stock, trying to find and plug the leaks. Mr. Ram Madhav, do you think that this was largely an attack out of sheer desperation? Absolutely. Because on the border, inside, after the killing of the J&K police officials, there has been a kind of a tightening which is leading to this kind of desperate act?
Absolutely. I believe that this act is an act out of sheer frustration and desperation at the strong measures that we have been taking in the last several months. We will continue to go after the perpetrators, terrorists in the valley. We will not spare anybody, but at the same time, it's our responsibility to make sure that Yatra passes off without any such incidents. Any further measures needed to be taken, they will be taken. You see, for government, for security forces, they have to succeed 100 out of 100 times. There is no option for us. But for a terrorist, even if he succeeds once, he will be able to do something. We will make sure no such.
One important question here is that Amarnath Yatra is not just a matter of faith for Hindus, but also a matter of economics for the people of Kashmir. Disrupting the Yatra is actually going to adversely impact the people of Kashmir, because you do earn a lot of livelihood from there.
Look, this is a yatra linked to the faith of crores of people. It's not just about economics. Every yatri has a right to go and have the darshan of Baba Amarnath. Our responsibility as government in the state and at the center is to ensure that he is in a position to fulfill his yatra.
Do you think the Hurriyat statements are crocodile tears, or is it the local pressure which is building up?
Now, it is good that probably they have realized that the kind of forces that they have unleashed in the state have become like Bhasmasu. They are such demonic forces now today going out killing innocent people that they have been doing before also. It's good that they have opened their eyes. If somebody says it's crocodile tears, I mean,
does it also vitiate the possibilities of talks with, say, Hurriyat, say even Pakistan? This attack.
Who is talking to Hurriyat? We are not talking to them.
Pakistan?
About Pakistan, government of India will decide.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so, these are the visuals of the kind of, the shock that prevails in the state of Gujarat. But despite the attack, despite the tragic loss of the pilgrims, the Chief Minister there condemning the terror attack and saying that the state administration is in constant touch with the Jammu and Kashmir administration. In fact, he also added that the state and the administration has been making arrangements to ensure that the bodies of those who have died in the horrific incident reaches the state of Gujarat and their family members as well at the earliest. And the Chief Minister also assuring that the efforts are on to ensure that those injured get the best possible medical care. So we just heard from the Chief Minister of Gujarat, Vijay Rupani, who has termed the attack as an act of cowards. He has said that the nation would never bow to such an ideology. He has outrightly condemned the attack. And, the state of Gujarat also in mourning after having lost most of the pilgrims who hail from the state of Gujarat. In fact, 6 women lost their life, including 1 man, and 19 others sustained injuries. And 5 of those who were killed were from Gujarat and 2 from the state of Maharashtra. So those are the words coming in from the Chief Minister. The Chief Minister also, appreciating and saluting the bravery of the driver who continued to drive the bus through the rain of bullets, despite the bus coming under attack from 3 to 5 militants. And these are the very sad images, the painful images to see the bodies of those pilgrims who succumbed as a result of their injuries, who were killed in that horrific terror attack. The nation, in fact, the nation stands united in condemning this horrific terror attacks, in condemning the perpetrators, those responsible for taking the lives of innocent people, unarmed. These were unarmed pilgrims who had nothing to do with anyone. They were part of the annual Amarnath pilgrimage. This is the worst terror attack that, the nation has witnessed in years. In fact, since 2000, when there was a similar attack on Amarnath pilgrims. And these are the very heartbreaking images of those bodies arriving in Gujarat. The Chief Minister personally there and condemning the incident, expressing his condolences to the families of those who have lost their loved ones. In fact, he said that the state administration has been in constant touch with the Jammu and Kashmir administration, and that the state and he himself personally is making all necessary arrangements so that the bodies of those who died in the horrific incident reaches their loved ones at the earliest. So pall of gloom there descending over the state of Gujarat. It's a very emotional time for the relatives and the loved ones of those ladies who were killed and of the lone man who lost his life in the tragedy. They were all traveling in a bus. All of the Amarnath pilgrims, in fact, were traveling in a bus. That was not part of the official tour. In fact, it did not have the police escort that was supposed to be given to the Amarnath pilgrims and the vehicles in which these pilgrims were travelling in, because it was not registered with the Amarnath Shrine Board. And now these are the visuals of, the Amarnath pilgrims, most of them in fact coming from the state of Gujarat, those also who sustain injuries. These are very tragic times. These are heartbreaking moments. This is a very painful time for the family of those. And the Chief Minister personally there to greet the victims, to really hear the horrific experience and trying to, reassure and give them some comfort at this tragic time. And while we are showing these visuals coming in from Gujarat, from Surat, let's also just tell our viewers about the necessary precautions that will be taken to ensure the safety of the remaining pilgrims as well, because the Amarnath Yatra has not been disrupted. It hasn't been called off just as yet. A tight vigil will be maintained on the other vehicles, even on those vehicles who do not have the necessary registration with the Amarnath Shrine Board.
Would be facilitating the entire travel. The bodies would be brought, mortal remains would be brought from Surat to Valsad, and then the other DCs would be taken to Dahanu and Palghar in Maharashtra as well from Surat. So very emotional moment there at Surat airport as we speak.
No, absolutely heartrending, images and visuals of the pilgrims who were on board that bus. And one, Kamlesh, one can't even imagine the horror that they had to endure, the most difficult moments of their lives, how their bus came under attack, and the Chief Minister also expressing his gratitude and appreciating the bravery that was displayed by the driver of this bus, who continuously drove through the rain of bullets while the terrorists were firing upon the bus. Sutar is with us, and he's continuously giving us all the details and the information about the passengers on board the bus. Now, Kamlesh, just tell me one thing. I presume that the maximum number of pilgrims who were on board that bus were from the state of Gujarat, and I hear that two of the pilgrims who tragically lost their lives were from Maharashtra?
Well, yes, most of them from the bordering areas of Maharashtra and Gujarat, particularly the districts of Palghar, Dahanu in Maharashtra, and Valsad, the southernmost part of Gujarat, which has its boundary with Maharashtra. So the travel agencies, if you look at the tradition here in Gujarat, there are several pilgrims who go to an annual Amarnath Yatra every year. It's been a ritual for most of them. Never ever, I spoke to some of the families and their friends, most of them having some or the other family member or a friend who goes to Amarnath Yatra every year, but they had never ever thought in their life about such a horror. They have heard of terror attack stories, they have heard about terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir, but they never thought that it would strike at their doorsteps someday. Some of their family members who are visiting there would be killed in that terror attack, would be victims of the terror in Jammu and Kashmir. I spoke to some of the family members of Lakshmiben Patel when they came to about the terror attack. They had no clue that the victims would include their own family members. In fact, one of the family members of Lakshmiben Patel, her grandson, told me that he spoke to his grandmother on his birthday on the 5th. She had called him up to wish him on his birthday. He never thought that she wouldn't be calling him back. After that, when the mobiles went into a no coverage area, they thought that it must be because of the network coverage there, but they never thought that this perhaps could lead to her last yatra, her last pilgrimage in her life. So very emotional moment there for the families here. They are in a completely in a state of shock and don't know how to react to that.
Oh, absolutely. And, it must be such an agonizing time for their loved ones, for their children, for their family members, just to hear some information about their relatives on board that ill-fated bus. Tell me something about this the bus, Kamlesh. Was it a private bus? Because this was certainly not part of the official tour. It did not even have the necessary registration with the Amarnath Shrine Board. Did the passengers know about this?
They had no clue about whether the bus has to be registered there for the quintessential security that is necessary, the security cover that is given to Amarnath pilgrims on their route to Amarnath Shrine. there have been tours that have been operated earlier as well. This particular bus was initially registered in Banaskantha, and the owner of the bus, the now owner of the bus, Jawahar Bhai Desai himself and his son Harsh Desai, they are both part of that tour. They were part of the entire entourage of the pilgrimage that went to Amarnath. In fact, what we have learned that the tour owner's son has also been injured in the terror attack. Perhaps we spoke to some of the officials here and also to some public representatives there. They said that they were perhaps not aware of the fact that such registration is required. And perhaps that is why they fell prey, because it was not in the ambit of the security. It was perhaps a soft target for the terrorists.
Right. Kamlesh, just stay on with me. In fact, the National Conference President, Farooq Abdullah, also the former Chief Minister of the state of Jammu and Kashmir, has given a reaction. Let's just listen in.
Those forces who have done this are the ones who want to create in the nation communal trouble. We are peace-loving. We want to progress. And these people want to stop our progress. The government of the day must look inside and see where their failures are and try and see that these failures are not happening anymore.
And I'm going back to Kamlesh Sutar, who is getting us all the information and updates from the airport. As you can see, these are the visuals of those pilgrims, of the injuries, this grave injuries that they received when their bus came under attack by 3 to 5 terrorists who started firing upon the bus indiscriminately. But, one thing is clear, Kamlesh, that all necessary preparations have been made, from stretchers to the ambulances in place to take the passengers of that bus that came under attack to safety. Can you just explain to us what exactly is happening? I heard the Chief Minister a short while back condemning the attacks and ensuring that the bodies of the pilgrims will be also taken to their relatives, to their loved ones. But just tell us a little bit more. Tell us about what's happening right now.
Well, all necessary medical help is immediately provided as soon as the entire team landed there, along with the mortal remains of the ones who lost their lives and also to the ones who are injured. The kind of trauma that they are facing, so the entire team of medical experts is also there to provide them with all necessary medical facilities, be it stretchers, be it medicines, or even be it any psychological assistance that is required to help them cope with the kind of trauma that they are facing at this point in time. Also, the mortal remains would be taken to their respective places so that they could be laid to rest. The final rituals could be performed.
All right, just stay on with me. Stay on with me. AIMIM President Asauddin Owaisi is also joining us right now on the broadcast. So good afternoon. Thanks so much for speaking to us. We're seeing some very heartbreaking images of the bodies now arriving in Gujarat, and all sort of information coming in, or eyewitness accounts of the horrific experience that the pilgrims on board that ill-fated bus had to undergo. Your thoughts? Political parties and leaders across party lines have condemned the terror attack. Your comments?
Yes. This is highly condemnable. I have no words to describe the pain which is being felt by the victims' families, and I hope that the government, either of Jammu and Kashmir and the government of India, will take strict note of it, because this is the second time in last 16 years that Amarnath Yatris have been targeted, and which has led to loss of lives. So this is highly condemnable, and every right-thinking person will condemn it. But and I feel that the ISI and the Lashkar are pushing this Kashmir question to show that it will have an impact on the rest of India. But I'm sure that they will be proven wrong. And one also remember the interview which Salahuddin gave to a national newspaper last year, wherein he talked about it.
Right.
So yes, we have to be extremely cautious, and also please remember that there are, we have issues with China also at this present moment of time.
Okay, sir, I'll just have to take a short break at this moment, but I'm going to come back to you. We're going to speak a little further about the very enormous tragedy that has taken place in Kashmir, and it's the worst ever that has happened since the year 2000. Stay on with me. I'll be back with more reactions and more updates coming in on the Anantnag terror attack.